Alrighty, okay, this should be working. Hopefully we've got audio. I will check on that. Let's see if we've got audio going through. Looks like it. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm gonna get the comments up on the side here before we go. Oh, I can't seem to see them. That's interesting. There we go. Alrighty. Just gonna leave that there. Be right there. Okay, cool. So, what are we doing? We're going to be showing. I want to show this desk and show how this actually works and everything. And I'm going to do that by doing a mixing session. Now, on top of that, I'm going to be mixing, but I'm also going to be showing setup, and that's kind of like the part that I'm really keen on showing. And I'm going to do this in a specific order so you can see what's going on. So this is the. Let me just go to the actual better view. Let's see what this looks like. Oops, wrong view. There we go. So this is, if I go to this view here, boop, this is the Fairlight EVO. And this is what was bought by DaVinci Resolve, or DaVinci, who make the Resolve product, and this is now integrated into Resolve. The software that you're seeing here, though, is what was in there beforehand. This is before they bought it, and it's cool and all, but it has been constantly updated. But this is it's been really distilled, and has got so many cool things that make it very, very handy for mixing and editing. This is one of the reasons why I want to show this, is that I feel that using Fairlight as a DAW is actually completely possible. And it's even more possible when you see how it's set up here, so which is what I'm going to do. But I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to be, I've not, as you can see up here, where? There you go. There's nothing loaded in. I'm going to go straight from zero and see what it's like. Fantastic. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually just load up all the tracks. Okay, now I'm going to go to the main screen for that. So let's see what that looks like here. Is it this one here? Oh. Wow, we're really making a mess today. There we go. Okay. Okay, cool. So what you got there is, let's see if I can just pop me up there. There we go. I'm going to just be importing the tracks. So let's just go straight up here. Import audio. Bonk. And of course it's in the wrong place. Let's go to projects. And the song that we're going to be doing today is by Michael Jackson, a small town boy called Michael Jackson. And I'm just oh, before I do that, let's just see if I'm at the right time. I'm at 0, so I can just do this 100. That bang, that puts it to the right time. And then let's make sure I'm going to import projects. One of the things I love about this is the bringing in and hearing all the individual tracks. The tracks that are on this they're just absolutely insane how good it is. All right, let's do that and let's import. Bonk. Oh, hang on. Let's undo that. I wonder why it did that. That's odd. Huh, okay. I'm actually going to take those out. Let's just... One of the other things I really like is that, as you can see here, I'm if I go into this view here, bonk, bonk, you can see I'm using this to kind of move everything around. The timeline stays in the middle, and then the tracks move around it, which will become more obvious later on once I clean them all up. So I'm actually just gonna, I don't know what happened here. Let's just didn't load in the right place. So let's just start at the very top here. And let's just go, well, that was a great start. But that's good, fine. Let's import again. And I think it's just because I had all those tracks selected, it did it in a funny place. All right, let's do that again. Boom, there we are. Okay, cool. So this is just all the tracks. They're just the multi-tracks right now. And right now nothing's switched on. We don't really see anything. If I zoom in here by using all of this, you can see all the waveforms. And the waveforms are fine. I think the first thing I'd probably want to do is actually make them waveforms a little bit more obvious. So if I just go up here like this, I'm going to also try and keep off of the mouse. And the first part that's got a lot of the setup, I will be using the mouse a lot, but later on with mixing, I try and keep off it because it really does then demonstrate the benefits of why this system works so well. But straight away, I'm going to go to, there's a thing here, if I come out of this, no, I can stay here. And I go to editor, and then go to clip level. I can just put the display level up, and you can see them getting bigger and smaller like that. I'll make them nice and big like that. Bonk. Okay. And then also, what we've got is, let's see if we've got all the tracks here. And obviously we're not listening to anything right now. If I press play, we don't hear anything. We just see stuff on the mixer. Why is that? Well, let's have a little look. If I go to this thing here, and I click on here, you'll see, actually you won't see, but all my faders are at 0. So the first thing I need to do is just go through here and switch on all my faders to a reasonable amount so I can go through the tracks and at least hear things. Zoink. And so now, is there anything else? Wow, I don't know if we have anything on these tracks. Let's just 0 them. And then the next thing I'll do is, on the mixer, I'll put the main output just to there. All right. And so now we should be able to hear things. There we go. But we're not going to go into that yet. The first thing we need to do is, if I look at all these tracks, and let's look at some different things here. Excuse my non-good use of this thing here. As you can tell, this is a home studio. I hide nothing. All right, but here you'll see all the different tracks. Now, as I zoom into these tracks, you can see we've got some bells here, then we've got backing vocals, then we've got cabasa, then claps, then guitar, E, G, H. Oh, it's done it in alphabetical. That's interesting. And then we've got kick, then lead vocals, then percussion. So it's a real mess right now. So the first thing we need to do is organize all these because they're in a real mess. So let's start putting them into the right place. And I can do that with this shot here. If I do this. All right. So we're going to just start moving things around. Let's go to here. I'm going to add, let's just take some of these guys here and give ourselves a bit more space. If I take, let's take all the percussion. Let's move it over here. So as you can see, you can do the whole movements by not using the mouse there. You can, but then you have to go back to the mouse because you know what? Some stuff I still don't know. So we've got kick tracks here. We've got lead vocals. That's got to move. Got backing vocals. We've got at the very top. Let's go to a closer view. What the hell's a go-go bells anyway? Let's move these down more to where I feel the drum stuff's going to be. Backing vocals, cabasa. What is cabasa? Oh, well, it's percussion. You'd think I would know that. And collapse. Let's move these down here. Whoops. Start moving these into the right place. Where's the snare? Let's find our snare. Snare. That's really funny having it all in alphabetical. Hello, Da Vinci girl. Popping the snare and the bass together. And we've got rim shot. I'll bring that. Well, we've got percussion. We've got some other stuff. Put that there. Let's get the lead vocals. Let's get these backing vocals. And let's get the lead vocals. Let's move that up to track 1. And then let's get this lead vocals alt. Let's move that to track 2. So as you can see, I'm doing a combination. We've got these things called mega modes. And as you can see, the screens change depending on what you're doing here. And there's an edit mode, a mixer mode, a record mode, project mode, setup, monitor. So right now I'm in the editor mode, and I'm just simply using, you see that there's usually a left-hand key that happens, which is cool, and then a right-hand key. It's a combination. It's always this combination, which is really, really good. All right, sorry to be late. You're not late. You're just on time. And then, so we've got backing vocals. We've got our corns down there. We've got all these, got this hi-hat. This has to move. So let's move that down. Whoops. And let's move that up there, and let's move snare up there, and then I guess that's what we've got for that. Let's see if there's any other drum percussion type stuff. Got percussion, scratch, string, bass. All right, so then after the backing vocals, I think I'll get all of our bass stuff in one place as well. Let's grab that. Hey, Homegrown, nice to see you, man. What do we have here? All right, so we've got synth bass and string bass. So let's just move string bass first. Move it up to, let's move it just right there, just after the backing vocals. I might even leave a gap. Check me out. And then we've got synth bass. Let's tuck that out. Again, so I'm just using this wheel here to move them around, which is kind of handy. And the reason why it's handy is that after like an 8 or 9 hour session, it's so much less stress on your body. In fact, even the height of this chair, the height of this desk, if I go from this, I'm not going to go from this, I don't want to mess things up, but basically where this desk is and how the height of it is, it's just perfect. Okay, so we've got our bass there, we've got our guitar. Let's have a listen to these guitar sounds. I want to actually see if these are actually what they say they are, right? So if we just solo that, I guess that is guitar mute. That's fine. And then these ones here. It's funny, I wonder if anyone could literally, I feel like you could recognize and understand that song from that one thing. I sometimes hear things like that, and I wonder if I'm alone in thinking that you hear like for instance, if you hear this, bit of a giveaway. All right, okay, so we've got guitars in there, we've got horns there, and then we've got our kick, and we've got our percussion down here. Go-Go Bells, I don't know how that got moved, but I'm going to move it back into position. Rim shot, percussion, oh, and then we've got keyboards. I want to move the keyboards to just after the horns and have the percussion on its own. So let's just, and then our synths, those go together too. Strings, okay, so strings are on their own. We've got Suitcase Roads, which I guess I'm going to just move those up there. And then I think, oh, damn it. I didn't have just the one thing selected there. Let's just move that to there. Let's get the strings. And let's move them down by themselves. Let's get our Suitcase 2. Move that to there. Let's get our synth. Let's move that to here. And our synth 2. Move those to there. All right. And then I feel Scary Vox and Scratch can go by themselves to somewhere else. That's what I feel. All right. So still we're just organizing things. Percussive Scratch and then Rhodes, these two guys here. Now as you can see now, each stereo track is 2 separate tracks, but we're going to fix all that. Oh, I'm from Germany, and I found the DaVinci Resolve and Sound System. Ooh, you're Romanian. Fantastic. Nice to see you all. Okay, so we've got our keyboards there, and actually it might be better if I go off of this because it's a little bit small to sort of see everything. Maybe it's good. Tell me if you want to. Hey Neil, tell me if you want this to be wider or bigger, because right now I'm on this multi-mode screen, but I feel like it does give a combination of being able to see what I'm doing as well as seeing the tracks. All right, so we've got strings on their own down there, which will probably. Let's go grab them. They're all lonely by themselves up there. Let's just go to here. We've got our synths there. We've got percussion, and then the Go-Go Bells, Cabasa. Let's just move all of this. Always like the bigger and wider. All right. You mean this, or you want to go to the wider one from above? Scary Vox doesn't feel like that's anything to do with percussion. So I'm just going to move that over there. And then, and Scratch doesn't feel very percussion-y, so I'm going to move it down there. This is fine, thank you. All right, cool. And then I'm just going to move those to, they can put them all together, that's fine. Percussion, claps, Go-Go Bells. I think this percussion is going to be more important, but let's just see. And then what we've got here, so we've got our lead backing vocals, bass, guitar. I think for just simplicity's sake, I'm gonna just move all this down one, boop, just to give a little bit of gap. We've got our bass, we've got our guitar stuff, we've got our horns, then we've got our kick, our hi-hat, our snare, and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we have successfully moved all of our things into a reasonable kind of layout. Okay, bonk, and then we've got to get our strings, and I'll just put those kind of on their own there. Poor little things, look at them. All right, cool. So now we've got that all laid out. They're all tracks, and it will play. So if I just go from the beginning now like this, and I set like that, and I play it, you will hear something. Let me know if you can hear that. Okay. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. All right, fine. Now the next thing we need to do is we've reorganized them. It'd be good to just kind of color them right now. Okay, so let's just get our lead vocals. Right, and let's just go on to track settings and let's just change our clip color. Let's put them to yellow. Let's see. bonk. And as you see, it's got a little label down the side here, which makes it nice and neat. Bass is always, bass will be what? Bass will be, I don't know, purple. Oh yeah, purple. All right, and then guitar, I'm gonna make green, I guess. Seems about right. Bonk, bonk. Oh, it's very colorful today. And then horns. Horns seem brown. I think horns are brown. Bonk. That's good. A burgundy red. How about that? And then our drums are going to be blue, I guess. Drums and percussion. All right. We're still in the organizational mode of this. Is that good? That's a look. And then our keyboards. Oh, you know a trick for your EVOs? Ooh. Okay, I'll look forward to that. And then synths, we're going to have, let me just see what we're going to do for those. Synths feel quite pink today. No. Maybe a different blue. God, it's funny that we take this long on this stuff. Orange. Fantastic. Okay, I'll leave the strings as they are. All right, cool. So now we can see, if I press this button here, it gives us an overview of everything. They're all kind of colored now. Great. All is well. And it still plays. You can start to see what you're going on. But, okay, that's cool. And the next part would be, is we've got a whole bunch of tracks that are stereo tracks, and some of them we can join to make them easier to work with on the desk. So we're just going to quickly go through and join these tracks that are clearly stereo, right? We can see some straight away there. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up a panel over there. Now the cool thing is that if I can use this as a touch, I can actually touch these. Like if I actually leant across and touch them, I can do that. It's very cool. They're touchscreens, but I'm not going to do that right now. So, but backing vocals 3 and 4. So let's say 3 and 4. I'm going to put those together. Bonk, and you can see it kind of puts them together. And then down here, let's look at horns. Those are definitely 14. So 14 and 15. So I can just go 14, 15, bonk, and then 16, 17, 16, 17, bonk. And then the drums are all going to be separate here. The claps are stereo though, 24, 25. Go-go bells, nothing. Percussion, all of that stuff's on its own. Percussion 4. Well, let's see what they are. What does that sound like? Let's just jam over there. That sounds like it should be stereo. Okay, so 31, 32, boop, boop, bonk. And then percussive scratch 34, 35, those two there. And then, oh, let's look down here. Oh yeah, Rhodes. So 39, 40, bonk, bonk, stereo, 42, oops, 40, 41, 42, bonk, 43, 44, bonk, 45, 46, and then synth 2, 47, 48, and then strings itself, 50, 51. Right now, you'll see why it's there's more just of a grouping thing. It actually makes mixing a bit easier, and then I can do this and minimize all these little guys into make them nice and small looking. Fine. I don't really have to do that right now. Okay, so now we've got our things all kind of mixed together. We know that those are these are all kind of put together now. And the next stage would be, I'm going to look at my little thing. Oh yeah, so if I actually do want to show you some one of the reasons why it is kind of cool, let's just come onto one of those guys here, right? And let's just go into the Rhodes piano, and let's go into 4 tracks so you can see it a lot easier, right? And let's say we are on the Rhodes right here. So let's solo this. And then what you're going to see in the bottom of the screen here is the cool part. So if I am mixing this and I'm saying, now there's a couple of ways I can do this. If I go onto this screen on the left, you'll see that I've got control. It kind of shows like an overview of that track itself. And my goodly son has just woken up. And then, but what I'm going to do here, if I solo this track, you've got it soloed, and then I'm going to try and do this on the screen here so it makes sense. And in fact, what I can do is if I go to this and I go to this, you'll be able to see it a lot easier. Boom. So if I just play this, it's just going to be the Rhodes piano. Fine. Everything sounds fine. It's panned left and right, as you can see on there. But if I change the spread here, it becomes more narrow, and then with the other hand, I can move it around. And the more I make it smaller, it becomes more, you know, precise. Now, if I'm doing a 5.1 mix or an Atmos mix, I can move this around all over the place. I can do things like this. If I left it like this and I go rotate, I can rotate around. Isn't that the best? And if I mess this up completely, I hold down the blue key and then I just tap these and it resets them. Boop, 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 boop. Isn't that fantastic? So that is one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I want to do it that way. That's why you group these things together. It makes it a lot easier. All right, let's go back to this. I've messed it up. Bonk. There we are. All right, cool. So so that's the reason why we've got to do it that way. It makes it much more sense. Now the next thing we're going to do is there's a boring bit. This is a bit that's actually been fixed in. It's been fixed inside the new Resolve, but it's not fixed on this. And that's, if you see here, the way that these tracks come in. If I go there to make it a little bit bigger, you can see here on the left-hand side, this says track 1 here, and then it says lead vox. Then track 2, lead vox alt, right? And if I go onto here, and I go onto this first track here, but if you look on the left-hand side here, it just says track 1, track 2, track 3. It isn't named. And I wish there was a way of, and maybe there is, maybe somewhere in Steve Rand's world, he can help me out, and basically make it that you can go into each track and take what is the clip name and copy it across the track name. So this bit's going to take a few minutes, like 5 minutes, and it's boring, but it then makes everything else easier. So bear with me. It's a very non-musical way of doing things. So basically, you select the track, bonk bonk, and then I've got a shortcut on a button here, on the actual physical desk that makes it a lot easier. And I'm just going to go name clip, and I go copy, then name track, then I go paste. Oops. Name clip, copy, name track, paste. Enter, enter. Oh, did I mess that up? No, I've done it. Okay. And then I go down to the next track. Then I go name clip, copy, name track, paste, done. And then I keep on going down doing that, which is boring, but it needs to be done. Oops. Name track, name clip, name track, bonk bonk. I go down. There are other parts later on that are way quicker in terms of doing track organization that I'll show you next actually. Bonk, 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 bonk. So it's a bit tedious. And I wish it was a little bit faster. I know that somebody will probably say you've got these whole things called macros that you can do. But I haven't mastered the macros yet. What are you guys saying? Do you do Dolby Atmos mix with the Evo? This particular Evo, they've been updating them, and so they all run on newer versions of Windows. The new Resolve runs on the newer versions of Windows, and yes, the new version of Resolve has Dolby Atmos built in for free. It is absolutely crazy. So you can do full Dolby Atmos mixes with the built-in free software. On the studio version, there is another way of doing it. When you're outputting for theatrical, there are certain flags and things that you have to do, and those things aren't enabled by default on the free version, but it's on the studio version. But those things are there seems to be more and more stuff that's coming on the free version, which I find absolutely amazing. All right, we're almost done here. But now what you can probably see, well, you might not be able to see, but on this left screen and the right screen here, you see the names of the tracks are starting to appear, and you know, it's starting to make a bit more sense on that, because I like to have them all done. There's even another thing that I can do, is that the colors that I'm using for the tracks here, I can make them be on that screen there for even more visibility. All right. Bonk. Almost there. Yeah, there's a very non-music one. This is all the setup part. And but to answer your question as well, is does this support Dolby Atmos? It does, but I don't have it set up right now because this is all, the whole thing is a work in progress. Hello, Funky Bass Man. Greetings to you, sir. So now we've got our tracks kind of laid out there, and then they all are representative of what they are there. So that's great. So if I go to my overall view, I've got 64 channels there, and I look at this. Here's all my channels. Here's all my stuff laid out to the side. They're now got stereo where they need to be stereo. They're all organized. So that's not bad. Now the cool thing is, this is one of the cool things that I really think is really good fun. If I now, you can see all these, and all of them looks great, but it just basically looks like, if you see it, it's just one huge big block. And sometimes you might want to adjust stuff or edit stuff. So what I'm going to do is here, and this is, I think, very, very cool, is if I put this to, say, 24 tracks, which isn't bad, it gives me enough visibility that I can see the tracks, right? And then I'm just going to go down and select all of these. All right? And I'm going to use this function called the gating function. And it is very, very cool. So the first thing I do is I can still, whenever I'm doing these things, I can still move around and do all this. But on the track here, I'm going to press this button called Gate. And it brings up a threshold, a handle tail, and a head tail, right? So I'm going to actually tell it to use audio. But then I click on this button here called Threshold. And then when I adjust, look at that. When I adjust the threshold, you can see it's immediately cut off these tracks to make them into individual track. Look at that! Isn't that bananas? How cool that is. And if I just go back to threshold and I move it around, so you can see you might not want to cut off too much. And by the way, the audio is still there. It's underneath. It just gets clipped off so that you don't need to deal with all this extra stuff. So I can see I'm cutting off stuff there, which I don't want to do. That looks about right. So bam, I hit Gate, and boom. Now I've got all of my clips organized. I've got all the names down the side here. Right? And I've got everything, and it's all nicely organized. Look at that! Isn't that fantastic? So the next part is the part where I basically, if I go to the wide shot here, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. Hey, there we go. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be assigning all of these. You can see that there's some stuff that's already assigned, and when I go through the various pages, you can see them jumping around. But they've just they need to be now organized into groups. And I generally like to have the vocals either here or over there. Yeah, I might just pop them here so I can keep them nice and handy, right? And then I'll sometimes have guitar and brass and stuff, and then I'll put them on various pages on various sides. And this is why when you're dealing with like a huge desk, it's actually easier to have different pages for different things, and you have them at arm's length. And having a bigger desk isn't necessarily better unless you've got multiple people working on the desk, which is kind of an old days thing, right? For free, if you own the studio version, also to run Atmos on the free version on Windows 7. Oh, wow. That would be lovely to see. It's something I definitely don't know. So what we're going to do first of all is, let's go to the very front, and I want to put the vocals on this page here. So I'm going to go to Setup, then I press Fader Sets, and I go Map Faders. So I'm going to say we've got Vox Lead, Alt, and backend vocals. I want to have Vox Lead. Boom, and it puts it here. Then here I'm going to put Lead Vox Alt. And then here I'm going to put backend vocals. And you can see they're being taken away from there. It's kind of cool. It's like blanking those out. So I've got my main 3 things here that I want to have. Then I think I'm going to have, I can put a blank in between. Boop. So I've just got a little blank, a little bit. And you can see it's represented on the screen here too. It's very, very, very cool. And so here I think I am going to put my bass stuff. So it's actually got my string bass and synth bass there, but I'm actually going to put them here. I'm going to put string bass and synth bass there. And then I think I'm going to put the guitars over here. I've got guitar mute. I'm going to go here. I'm going to put my guitar mute and guitar rhythm there. And then I do have space for all horns. I do. I've got the horns there. So I may as well, I can just put the horns. I've got 2 tracks of horns. So I could have a gap there. And then I can put horns 1 and horns 2 right there. And then have another little gap there. Boom. So that's that laid out. Backing vocals here, string, bass, horns, guitar. And then let's go over to the other side. What I think what I'm going to do next is down here. Let's just make sure we've got that done. Boom. That's great. All is well. I'm actually going to do a quick little save at this point here. How about that? 1 out 3. Bonk. Done. Okay, cool. And then, so I've got all my guitars here. I've got my horns. I've got my bass. And then I've got my lead vocals. So what else do we need to allocate? Yeah, always save your work. I don't know if you can see here. It's kind of nice. Is on the side it shows the name of the tracks too, so you never lose sight of what the tracks are compared to the clips. All right, so we've got all of our drums down here. Whoa. All right. I think I'm going to go to page 2, and then here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to map faders. I'm going to come here. I'm just going to blank it all out first. And it's cool. As I go along, it cleans them all out. Doop, doop, doop. One more. Right. I'm going to come here. I'm going to start putting my drums in. My drums are, I'm going to put my kick, then my hi-hat, then my snare, and then I think I've got percussion, percussion, percussion. Oh, 28, 29. Should have those been, no, they're separate. Percussion, 2, percussion 3, and then we've got a stereo 1. Bonk, percussion 4. Then we've got that there, percussion 2, 3, and oh, that one's already done. Okay, and then percussion 5. Oh, that's percussive scrapes. Cool. All right, we're getting all our stuff in here, and then if we come down a little bit more, you're in Paris at Car Saloon recently. Dolby Atmos for cars. Holy moly, that sounds incredible. Okay, so let's put our agogo bells in here too. Let's put the claps there. Claps. Let's have the, oh, claps. Then agogo bells. Then rim shot. And then, I guess we've got our cabasas. Oh, cabasas are going to be in 2 things because we've got 2 cabasas. That's a shame. It's going to go. I'll put it here. Boop, boop. There's our cabasas. And then I guess we can start putting in. We've done this. You know what we've not got? The scary Vox can actually go in there too. but it's not really a scary vox. Let's just pop it there. All right, cool. Then we've got our cabasses. Then I think what we're going to do is put all of our keyboards in here. So we're going to have a little gap here. We're going to go there, and then I'm going to put in our Rhodes, our suitcase, our other suitcase, our synth, and our synth 2. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to have nothing there. Boom. So now we've got that, and if I come out of this, I can very quickly save by going Editor, Save Project. And there's another very cool thing that you can do is, if I'm in one of these other modes, and you can see all the screens change depending on what I'm doing here, right? Let me actually just go to that screen. Right? So you can see here, all the screens change depending on what you're doing. And if I go to Mixer, I've got my path, my EQ, my dynamics, my thing, I've got my plugins, everything. But if I go to Editor, and if I was in one of those and I said, oh, I want to save, I need to go to Editor, and then I need to press Project Save. It would do it. That's cool, right? But, oh, that doesn't work. But what you can also do is I call it peeking. You can hold down Editor, press Save, and then it will go back to where you were. How cool is that? And that works with anything, even with the faders. So let's go back to our white page. Bump. And then I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to now bus things together, right? So I generally put my busing page here. Right now it's got lives on it, so I'm going to take out all the lives. The lives are lives inputs. I'm just cleaning out this left-hand part. Boop, 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 boop. And I'll clean out all those over there too. As you can see, it's cleaning out the right. If you look over here, see it? These are all getting cleared out. So I've now got a nice blank canvas. And so I've got to decide how many buses I need. And it's generally going to be like, you're going to have your vocals, you're going to have your synths, your strings, bass, your guitars, all that kind of stuff. And let's do that right now. So the first thing you need to do is to have a bus format. And as you can see here, I've already got a few of them, and they're all kind of ready set up. I'm going to just change them to stereo. And then let's add a bunch more. Let's say 7. All right. So, actually, let's just do 8. Let's just do one more. Oh, hello there. My goodly wife has just come back from shopping, I think. Now, what we could also do to make things a bit more fun is if we start doing, breaking them out, and let's actually start labeling them. So let's do vocals. And as you can see, this changes into a regular keyboard when I'm doing this stuff. Vocals, and let's actually look at what color the vocals are. Vocals are yellow. Let's put that to yellow-ish. And then we're going to have, say we're going to put that to bass. All right, and what color was bass? Bass was kind of red-ish. It was purple, wasn't it? Oh, look at that. That's a bit too much, though. Holy moly. And then the next one, let's just do guitars. And those were green. And then guitar solos, well, they're greenish. Then horns. And those are red. That's 2. Let's do that. All right. Cool. Let's come down, and then we've got our drums. And those are pink, I guess. And then we've got blue on the percussion. And then what else do we need? Oh, and then we've got our synths, which are orange. Synth, which is orange. Where's a good orange? There. All right, we're almost there. I do like this kind of setup. And then strings, which are strings are on their own. Strings, which could be, they look like a lighter blue. Let's just put that up there. Bonk. All right, cool. This will become more obvious in a little second. So I've got this page down here, I've got this area down here that there's nothing on it, right? And I'm going to assign these to these different things. So how we do that? There actually is various different ways, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to assign these to down here. So if I go to here, and let's just say I'm going to go to editor, no, system, setup, fader set, map faders, and I'm going to start from here. I'm going to go, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just start from here. So here, I'm now going to go, I press on this button here which says buses, and then it shows me my buses that are available right here. How cool is that? And then all I do is I go vocals, bass, guitars, horns, drums, percussion, synth, strings. And as you can see, it's colored them here. And also, if we go to that image there, where is it? There you go. You can see that it's labeled them and made them all kind of nice that way. How cool is that? So, but what we haven't done yet is we haven't assigned any of them to that. We haven't assigned them to this fader. Like right now, there's no bus assignments. So we're going to use this page here, and I'm going to put this big because it's a lot easier for that. Let's just do this. Nope. Where's the center one? 7. No, there we go. And as you can see here, you can see all your buses down here, right? So I know that our bus number 1 is vocals. So I'm going to put that to vocals and backing vocals too. Right? But then what I'm also going to do is switch off them from being on the main bus, right? And then we've got our strings, their bass, which is going to be on number 2. And if I just hold and I don't let go, as soon as I go over number 2, it highlights it, and it's done. I can actually I'm going to take all these off the main one. Again, I don't need to click, I just hold it down. All right, guitar is going to be 3, 3, 3. So I just hold it. I don't really need to do much, but it's a little bit fiddly. But and I'm sure there's a way of doing this from the main screen, but I haven't discovered it yet. Let's put my little face up here. There we go. And then we've got horns, which no, guitar is number, bass 3 is guitars. Then we've got horns is number 4. Then we've got our drums, which is on 5. Oops, you messed there. 5. And then I guess we come over here, and then I think percussion is on 6. And a scary voice and sax, that sounds like. And then Rhodes is going to be synth. I've cut it, I told it synth. Maybe I should call it keys. But let's go. That's on 7. And then strings on 8. Boom. And now none of those are going to the main ones. And then what I need to do is if I go over to here, you can see I've been adjusting these guys right here, but I do need to tell it. Oh, I've got a funny fader there. Look at that. Got to fix that. I need to tell those to be going through the main bus. Right? There we go. All right. That is. We are now set up. So if I was going to just, everything is kind of set at Unity right now. And if I look over here, things are kind of organized nicely. Some of these are appearing there. And I know that happens from time to time. I know what it is, but I think I need to relay those out. But anyhow, we've got our guitar on mute, we've got our horns, we've got our synth bass, we've got our vocals on the left there. They're all nicely laid out. And then we've got our drums over here. But if I wanted to just take control of it and say, right, well, I'm now on the main track here, and I just want to hear the vocals, I can do that. Oh, I'm on the wrong page here. I need to be on this one here. Clearly pressing the... Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so now you should be able to see that I've now got these all bussed to this handy area here. And if I want to go back to the vocals, I go to page 1, and I can just play around with the vocals. They're right here, right? But if I want to go onto the main page here, and I just want to hear vocals, that is what was there. Isn't that fantastic? One of the things I love about this system is that as you're going over, you can see it highlights what you're actually doing. Isn't that fantastic? As it's happened, I've chosen a color of one of these tracks that's the same as the highlight color, so it's a little bit colorful right now. Okay, so let's have a little look through. Let's listen to all this stuff. We've got our famous bass line. Wow. And let's... Oh, hang on a second. We've got synth bass. Oh, let me check. I think I've got one of my synth basses not going through the right thing. Let's look through here. Ah, look, I missed one. So that's supposed to go through 2. I did that one instead. Did the wrong track. That track 5. So now we should be able to hear them. Hear both of them. So on this page here, I've got only my bass listening to it, and then if I go back to my main page where I can see the actual faders are, here they are here. There's something that you don't really hear in the main mix. You hear a bit of it, and then that's the main bit that you recognize. Put them together. Spread them out a little bit on the pan. Wow, all right. And I can mute that. Let's have a little listen to the guitars. Whoops. Oh, wow. Let's go back. Listen to that on its own. Let's go here. So here's guitar mute. That's more synth sounding than guitar. Unless it was done... Anyone have an idea of that? That sounds funny, huh? Okay, but you put it with the guitar. Okay, they do go together. Could just spread them out a little bit. So that's again one of the reasons why it's so much easier to have. This is obviously this is a lot, right? But the benefit of having faders and hardware in front of you is that it gives you the opportunity to try things that otherwise you might not bother. This is a really simplistic version, but just even having 2 faders here, two knobs here to play around with, that I can just have a listen, you know, do them that way, do them that way. Now this is, as I said, this is a simplistic version, but sometimes if you don't have the immediate accessibility to it, it becomes one of those like, oh, I'm not going to bother, it's too much hassle. But because you do have this immediacy, it is absolutely wonderful. All right, so we are in. Let's have a look. So that guitar, that sounds pretty okay, right? And if you're going to bring the bass back in, I mean, straight away, that is just amazing. Okay, so next up, let's mute those. Let's have a look at the horns. All right. So we've got our horns here, and let's have a little listen to them. This is horns 2. So it looks like the horns, they do play together. do kind of hit over each other there, don't they? I don't know if that was... It felt like maybe it was like this. So if we hear it in the song. Okay? But I think you didn't hear that there. I think it was more like this. You know what I mean? Or maybe it was. I don't know. But those seem to be, when I zoom in like that. Again, this is one of the things that's very cool, is that you can just simply zoom in and out. I want to see all the tracks. I can zoom out like that, super fast. Or I can come in and look at something more close, zoom in at that. Or if I'm even going down to like 2 tracks or 4 tracks, and you can sort of see the similarity between them. There's another very handy thing, that if you've got a whole bunch of tracks, right, and I'm like, I want to listen. I want to look at the snare. Let's just say there's something to do with the snare, and let's just say the way that this percussion is, right? Let's look at those two. I've highlighted those two, right? And let's see if this works. If I go edit set, it just shows me those two. So I can just look at them immaculately and say, oh, is my timing right? Or whatever. And if as soon as I take it off, it goes away. Isn't that fantastic? So it makes it very easy to jump around. If I wanted to just look at the horns, for instance, and I go to 24 tracks, or let's just say I just want to look at those guys here. Edit set, boom, and you can really see them all together. If I wanted to. Well, if I was going to do that, I would do something like I'd bring in the drums. This is the drums, yeah. Right? So again, you can see that close up. If you needed to move something or slip something around. Look, you can really see the timing on that. Fantastic. So now I can take that off of edit set. And let's move on to the drums. So drums here, and let's look at where I actually put them. Here they are. All right. Let's actually just bring these all down, have a little listen. Oh, I'm hearing something else. Oh, it's a cabasa. Look at that. Oh. Oh, interesting. Let's just pan those out a little bit. That's cool. All right. But I think that kind of is more in percussion land, but never mind. Again, with any of these channels, I can look into the channel. So if I select it, I can go into this page here, which I'll show you in a sec. There. So you can see the actual thing that's associated with it. There's not just a normal, like that shows you all of them together, and those line up with what we've got on the screen here. But if I press just the channel only, it gives you just a full representation of what's happening on that. You can see any EQs you've got going on, any compression, you know. So if we wanted to add, I mean, it's coming in exactly at -10. It's kind of perfect. But if we did want to, if we come out of that and I just show this channel and I say, well, I'm going to click on the EQs and I can see the EQs are switched off. Let's just switch on the EQs and you can see they start lighting up if we wanted to, right? And then if I click on that channel and I'm going into the kick channel, you can see now that it's there. So if I wanted to, and if I could, I can either touch on the screen, but now you can see straight away that if I'm adjusting that on the screen there, I get immediate feedback. Now, that is great, right? But I want to show you something. If I go on to this, and let's just say I don't have this whole thing, right? Let's just say I only have bought this part. Well, what's represented on the screen? So if I do this, I can see straight away that if I'm going into my mixer, I can see my EQ, it's right there. So if I'm adjusting something on the screen there, over there by hand, but I can also, if I wanted to adjust the frequencies here, like, oh, that's the actual frequency, and on the right-hand side, you've got the gain. So you say I've got my mid, and I've got you can see the high one there, and I can see the frequency change that happens in there, right? So if I go lower down, I can see, well, there's that. I want to move this, I want to give this a little, you know, these are very, very visible and very, very handy, and it's happening right in the middle section. So if you only have this middle section, you can work on this. It's fantastic. But you can do it with a mouse on the screen. You can do it on the full console and the width of it. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come down and then reset all of those, because everything I did there was without listening to it. All right, that's interesting. There we go. Now it's flattened. So we go back to wrong. Is that one? This one here. All right. Switch that off. Oh, I'm making a real doozy for this one. I apologize for my non-ability to operate this machine. There. All right. So let's just say we're listening to that bass line right now. And I just wanted to bring up a little bit of the... Just a little bit there. And then if I wanted to just go straight onto the hi-hat, I click on hi-hat and it brings it in. I'm going to pan it over a little bit to the right. And I'm going to move on to the snare. Feels like it needs a little bit of love on the higher end. Let's move on to the other ones. If I go wide here. Whoop. There we go. Well, let's actually look at our percussion part. We might not be at a part with. So let's just bring in the other ones, the cabasa 2 and the claps. That's the famous part of it, I feel. And I guess what we need is our claps. Where's our claps? Wow, look at that. Those are real claps from real people. What? You can literally hear the bleed through from that too. Now, okay, so let's just take that. You might want to keep that live, but what I'll probably want to do is do a little bit where I take off that, I could just take off just gate that a little bit, make it a bit cleaner. So I'm going to switch on the gate there. Now, I should show it to you right here, is that I'm adjusting it, I'm actually adjusting it over here on the desk. It's so much easier for me to do there, but you can see the adjustment that I'm doing here, right here. And now it's just clipped out the extra stuff there. All right, that's fantastic. And so if you hear that but let's have a listen there. So you put that, and you have the cabasas. It's amazing when you get those together. Wow. All right. So it feels like these are all working together. And if I'm still listening to I'm just listening to drums right now. So let's have a little listen to what percussion has got up its sleeve. Oh, I've flattened them all down. That's why. All right. let's do that. Hang on, is there no percussion at this part here? Oh, because there's no percussion at this part. Wow. Oh, finished. That is just amazing. So we've got this thing on its own. I'll pan that over to the left a little bit. I don't know if that was really what it was like. And what's the percussion for is percussion 5. Oh, hang on. How come I'm not hearing percussion 5? This guy right here. Oh, because I have it soloed. Excuse my ignorance. Alright, I'm still not understanding how I'm not hearing this fellow. Oh, I think I might have made a mistake here. Let's look at the track for percussion 5. And it says it's going to 6, which is percussion. But I don't seem to be hearing it there. Am I making a mistake here? This guy. Oh, that is it. Alright, well I don't mind moving up. That is fantastic. If I go just, no, he's not here. Where is he? There's percussion 5. He's been hiding on the wrong page. Percussive 5 and percussive 5. Alright, I've got some weird thing going on here, but never mind. Move over here. Alright, so let's hear what that sounds like. Just the percussion on its own. And then we'll bring in the drums. Alright, let's bring in some of the others there. It is absolutely fantastic fun. I've got some, now, one of the things that's very, very cool is if I'm changing between pages, you might not be able to see this, I can hold a fader, and this one is lead vox, and when I go to another page, it keeps it with me. It says lead vox still in there, so that if I'm still needing to adjust something, whatever I'm touching, it will hold on to, which is fantastic. But what we've also got is that I've managed to mess up, for some reason, some of these other pages, because I'm seeing these percussive 5 isn't working on this one. I've got to figure that one out. But anyhow, you get the general idea. But it does give you a very quick ability. Now, what I probably want to go in there, when you listen to the quality of these musicians, of any of these faders, just listen to the drums on their own. Right? I know there's a Lindrum in there, there's some other stuff, and then you get the percussion in there. every single one is like a joy. And they're all, I mean, I don't know the state of where these things came from, because they don't feel like they need much EQ. They don't feel like they need that much stuff balancing out. I've just done some rough balancing and done some rough panning, but in no way have been doing like a full monumental mix, right? But now that we've actually got it to a position of, I know where everything is on the desk, so I can quickly go through things and mix things quickly. And it's funny because people could spend hours just mixing and just not organizing anything and then get to a certain result. But then if you needed to do something bigger and you don't organize, you don't put things onto buses, you end up in a real mess later on. So you might be able to get to a reasonable situation early, but then later when you have to actually get more surgical, you've got everything everywhere. So I think I like spending the time to organize things and have them laid out. So I'm very kind of visual, and so I like to know where things live physically to allow me to kind of jump in and do that. It is very much fun to see the faders moving, Jonas. And now let's go to, or is it over here? Give me a bigger view here, so I can see these guys coming in here. Now, can you hear that? You're hearing a finger click. I bet you that's Michael Jackson in there. It just sounds like something he would do. I'm not sure. Again, I've got that on one. I've got the one fader on the group, but also if I go to my actual track, I believe I've got it. Where did I put my strings? There, they're over there. They're straight. Oh, did I move them? Here they are, strings. So you can see it's 2 tracks, but I've got it as a single track. It's handier just to have on a single track, but you just have to sign it that way. It's just another part of what you need to do to organize this stuff. But it is amazing when you just hear that. Now we're only getting that as a stereo track. I'm sure this has been bounced down. This isn't. We're not hearing all the individual musicians and the individual microphones. I'm assuming that they'd have much more going on with that. But just hearing them together, it's very easy, like to see that this has already been kind of preconditioned. So you get your levels up at like 0, and you push them up, and things are kind of okay. It's absolutely. Let's go visit his vocals on its own, because the guy who recorded this. Which of course his name escapes me right now. Somebody will pop it in the comments, hopefully. He does this thing where you record a close distance and then you record the same thing further back, and it's a better way of layering because you don't get that bass that you get a close up. And I'm not sure if that's what's happening on this, but if you listen to the lead vocals and the alternate vocals, I think we're definitely going between them. You know what I mean? Because if we go and let's just listen to those on their own, right? So we just got vocals coming up and we're here. So let's go and zoom into that track. Hang on. Tech Christian. That doesn't look like my MFX. I know, I've got my MFX upstairs. It is fantastic, but I really still need to set up some time to actually do that. I really, really feel like I'm doing a disservice. Not doing videos, because the MFX3, if people don't know, was the precursor to this machine, and that timeline. And I had a great conversation with Paul Slusser when I was in Australia, visiting the Fairlight team, about keeping this timeline in the middle, and then having these tracks move back and forwards underneath it. For me, it gives such a great clarity, and I really, really love it. Oh yes. Starting out organized is a better approach. Yes, I completely agree. So we've got backing vocals, which I'm going to bring down right now, and we're going to listen to just Michael's vocals on their own, because going back to what I was saying before, there's definitely parts where he uses the louder parts, because you'll just not recognize it. You'll recognize it when you hear the real thing. So here we go. Ooh. Like he's just making noise there. Isn't that fantastic? They're doing it on both.
Ooh, I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. It's hard to get over. It's too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder.
Now, let's just listen to that a little bit there.
You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. It's hard to get over. You're too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle.
Now that sounds different. This one sounds like mushier.
The pain is thunder.
This one,
I took my baby to the doctor.
that one sounds further back. But I think it's only when it gets to the actual chorus where he's screaming and doing louder stuff that they actually use that other track. I might be wrong. Oh, Dan. It is an expensive piece of hardware, and I thank my good friend Steve Rance, who made this all happen. I'm in the middle now of putting my video series, my new video series, which is after the CMI video series, a new video series about how this incredible thing came to be. And it's like being in the right place, having good fortune, having good friends, and having a good wife that would allow this to be in here in the first place. Varying mic distances techniques with Tony Visconti. Yes, on Heroes. Yeah. Fantastic. But the guy that he did, the Michael Jackson guy, my brain, tell you, it's too early in the morning.
With a fever, but nothing he found. By the time it's in the street.
Now you can actually hear a
With
punch
a fever,
in there.
but
You hear a punch in there right there.
nothing he found. By the time it's in the street. They said she had a breakdown.
Now you can hear that's a punch in already. I'm just listening to the one track.
It's in the street. They said she had a breakdown. Someone's always trying to start my baby crying. Talking, squealing, lying, saying you just want to be starting something. So you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something.
Incredible vocals. So if we get more to the chorus, let's just bring up some other stuff here.
You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. It's hard to get over, too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You learn to pretend that you're good when you're always up to no good. You really can't make them hate her.
Now, if we go back to that, I've not got the backing vocals in there.
So your tongue became a razor. Someone's always trying to start my baby crying. Treacherous, cunning, declining. You got my baby crying.
Now, I'm not sure where the other one comes in, but there are mistakes here and there.
Ooh, wanna be started.
Now, was that there?
Wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something.
Let's listen to that again.
Ooh, wanna be started. I said you wanna be started. You got to be started.
Now, was that at the same time in the real record? Again, here's another question. I'm playing this and I have no idea if I'm going to get a big old copyright hit. I hope I can put it under the educational part, because I'm not playing the whole song, I'm just playing bits, but I'm playing enough for the copyright algorithm to probably pick it up. Hopefully I'm still on. I need to actually check. Oops. Yes, I am. All right.
Ooh, wanna be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. It's hard to get over. It's too low to get under.
Now it's there that if I listen to that when he goes,
It's too low to get under.
now listen to the first one.
Hard to get over. Too low to get under.
Now that's where it says too low to get under. That's where I feel it goes into the other one. So if I go like this,
Got to be starting something. It's hard to get over. It's too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. It's hard to get over. It's too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle.
because if you listen to the first one on its own,
Over. It's too low to get under. It's too low to get under.
he's got more of a bite, got more of a push on that second one, and I recognize that more than the first one on that track, on this track.
You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You're a vegetable, and the pain is thunder. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Do they hate you?
just listen to the backing tracks there. If I go to the backing vocals and I bring up path here, you can see it there. I've got them fully wide. And I don't know if that's where they're supposed to be.
Vegetable, just a buffet, you're a vegetable.
Because they're basically panned hard left and right. So what I feel I'm going to do, it sounds good, but I think I want to just bring it in a little bit.
Still they hate you, you're a vegetable.
So yeah, mono,
just a buffet,
you spread it out.
you're a vegetable.
Here's the difference.
They eat off of you.
Alright, I'm going to leave it about there. And let's go back and listen with this vocal.
Yeah, yeah. Too hard to get over. Yeah, yeah. Too low to get under. Yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah, yeah. And the pain is thunder.
I don't recognize that. But I do. Let's have a little listen there.
Stuck in the middle. And the pain is thunder. And the pain is thunder. You're a
See that I don't recognize.
and the pain is thunder.
That's not it.
And the pain is thunder. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Do they hate you?
Whoa.
You're a vegetable. Just a buffet. You're a vegetable. They eat off you. You're a vegetable. Ow! You're a vegetable. Ow!
Wow. Feels like he's literally right here.
You're a vegetable. Ow! Do-do-do.
Isn't that great? Apparently that was the sign of when he enjoyed things, is when he started joining on. Alright, so I believe that a lot of these vocals in this way are very much they're already in good shape. So if I was going to actually start mixing them, I could. I feel it might be a bit of a fool's errand, but we can do that if you like. But it does feel like I'm probably pushing things a little bit. Let's get these balanced out with the vocals and see what it sounds like. Let's listen to them on their own. So we're just going to go like that. Horns, drums, guitars, vocals. Just like, I want to leave those where they are, and then I can come back and then play with the backing vocals in that bit. So listen and see what they sound like to each other.
Something, you got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. It's too hard to get over. Yeah, yeah. You're too low to get under. Yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah, yeah. And the pain is thunder. Yeah, yeah. It's too hard to get over. Yeah, yeah. You're too low.
I feel like they need a little bit of bass or something. So if I come out here, my EQ, and I switch on some EQ there, and just bring up the bass a tiny tad.
To get under, yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle, yeah, yeah. And the pain is thunder. Yeah, yeah. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Do they hate you? Do they hate you?
Now, what we haven't got set up right now is any reverbs or anything. And I don't know if there was, but the way I would do that, if I was going to do it, is I'd put it onto this page here, the last page. And I'd have my auxiliaries over here. So let's just do that. Let's go to the bus assign. Nope, not bus assign. Bus format right here. Auxiliary 1. I'm going to call it. It's going to be stereo. I'm going to call it reverb. Right. This is kind of simple. And then and I'll just do one for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over here. So how do we do that? Let's go back. Press the setup button. Press the channel that you want. Oh no, press the fader sets and then say map faders. And now it's like, which fader do you want here? And I'm mapping it to this one here. And then I go to buses. And then I go map auxiliaries. And it's got right here, it's very small to see. But you see map reverb. And I press that. And then all of a sudden, it's mapped onto here. You can see it says reverb over here. Okay? And then I'm done. So I go take that out of there. And we're good to go. So now, if I bring this reverb up, nothing's happening right now. But if I go into any of the channels, let's do that. Let's go to this one right here. And now you can see if I was going to go to the lead vocals, for instance, right? And now it says lead vocals. You see in the top one here, you'll see it says reverb. Look at that. So all I'm going to do is, here's his lead vocals. And let's just say we're going to just have vocals on right now. And let's just say it's this right here.
You're a vegetable. Do they hate you? You're a vegetable.
Right, so let's just say I'm going to send it to the reverb. It's very, very simple. You just press this reverb button, and then, or the auxiliary, but it's put reverb in there because it's named that way, which is kind of handy. And you can see I've got a little adjustment that I'm sending it to. Okay? And then I need to go onto my post mixer and check to see if my auxiliaries are going to the main channel, which they will be, right? Boom. Now I need to actually put something on that channel. So if I go to my main screen here, whoops, I keep on going in the wrong one. There we go. If I go on this one, and maybe I can pop my wee face up in the corner there. Now I'm just going to say, well, let's see what we're going to put there. So I'm going to go down to this channel here. I'm going to press on my auxiliary, and now it says reverb right there. And then what I'm going to do is go to my mixer and go to plugins. And if I go to here real quick, and I go to there, you can see I've got my path, my EQ, my thing, and I'm on this reverb channel. Now plugins, I go to plugins, and then all I do is I press config, right? And then when I do that, I want to, it comes up with various keys, delete plugin, bypass. I'm going to go add plugin. Now, it's coming up with plugins on the screen, but we can't see them right now. So if I go over to that screen, this one, and I drag it over because I usually keep it on my left screen. Here we go. I've got a bunch. So I can still use the wheel to go around. I'm just using the dial right now. And let's just say I'm going to go and grab Alex 480 Essentials. Let's just grab that, and then I go add, and then it should come up with it. Look at that! How handy is that? So it's going to be full. This is just the built-in straight up one, and let's just see what it sounds like.
It's the buffet. You're a vegetable. They eat off of you. You're a vegetable. Ow!
Sounds great straight away because it's one of the defaults. And let's look at signature presets. Let's just go to vocal ambience. Let's see what that sounds like.
Do they hate you? You're a vegetable. It's the buffet. You're a vegetable.
I like the one that it came with, to be honest. The one that was on. Oh, I guess I can just do this.
They eat off of you. You're a vegetable. Ow!
Not bad. So let's just say that's there. Now the cool thing is I can leave that there, right? And if I'm on this screen here, whoop, it's just on the screen. Now, you might not be able to see from here. This is the cool part. I love this part. This is great. If I just do this here. Right. This bit is great. Right, I'm going to go on to say this vocal lead track here. Now, as soon as if I'm on this plugin here, and I'm on the thing, and I want to bring up that mixer, I bring up the config, and it should bring up, right? But now, if I go to plugins, and I'm going to go to add plugins, I'm going to add something different here, and this is what's very, very, very cool. I'm going to add in the BX. Now, I don't necessarily need to use it. I just want to show you, right? All right, it comes up here, and I'm just going to move it over to the right a little part so you can see what I'm doing. Right, are you ready for this? You have to pay attention to this part. Now, these are touch screens. These are all touch screens. I can actually adjust, if I want to adjust the balance there, I could click over there, if it would let me, and adjust it over there, right? I can do things, I can select things. I can also do this here, or touch it on the screen. But this, if you see the screen, it's this screen here. Let me go to switch that off so you can get a good look at it. It's the AMEC kind of console thing, and it's got that look, so it actually looks like the real thing, right? Okay, so the cool thing is that when you're using these, it maps all of the things down to here. Okay, so I can say adjust this, and if you were going to see it on the main screen, and let's go to it, I'm adjusting it on the console, and you can see that the total harmonic distortion is changing in the top right hand corner, up wherever it is, up here. See it? And that's great. So a lot of these things this is very normal. I can just grab it with a mouse and move it if I want to, right? And that's all cool. But what the cool part is if I go to here, whoops, right, is that I can literally just reach across and adjust things with my finger. I can adjust the fader here, like this. Look at that. Right? So I don't need to, and it is really quite remarkable because it gives you a direct, I can do it here, that's great. I can adjust it here, that's fine. But being able to just reach out and adjust it is way better than having to then stop, reach for a mouse, move over there and do the thing. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'll put it onto the screen so you can see. It might make a little bit of sense. So, yeah, what you won't be able to see is, you kind of will. Watch me, here you go. I'm reaching over and I'm adjusting this with my finger. Look at that. Fantastic. Da da da. Oh, look, Mum, no hands. Oh no, one hand. Isn't that fantastic? It's absolutely amazing. Let me just close that out there. Go back to the screen here. So that kind of tactileness, it goes back to something earlier that I was saying. I didn't quite finish my thought. Is that when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, you're organizing, but at the same time, it is giving you something that instead of, you might take 20 minutes to set up, but in terms of getting a mix done, you can fly through stuff so much quicker with a situation like this. And even the other Fairlight consoles that are available from Blackmagic, they are like compact versions. It's like they've taken this and put it into one. And what it also does is, the frame of it allows it that you can literally get an HDMI monitor and it will mount on the back and line up with the channels like this is. Like, see the one, every one of these is lining up so when I press this I can see it here, but it also lines all the way up. They're doing that in their new consoles, which are really, really affordable. This is not affordable, but it's still actually available. If you want to actually go out and get one of these, you can find them on eBay for surprisingly good prices. Okay, I'm going to catch up on the comments right now. Oh, on Sundays, regular Meet the DaVinci Resolve dialogue sounds for education. I will go there for a few minutes to say hello and then invite them here. They finish around 10. This is completely fine, yeah. That'd be wonderful. I don't know how long we're going to keep on doing this, because the interesting thing is that a lot of these channels sound great already, but I'm totally happy to go through. We might even just start mixing some of this. So, if I go back to the vocals, I had that on this one, but I'm going to actually delete it because I don't think we need it on that. But we do need the reverb on that other one. So now we've got that in there. And on the lead vocals, I'm also going to just add a little bit of reverb in there too for the other one. The backing vocals, I wonder, do you think we need them? If we go to this and we've got our vocals on, let's just have a little listen there.
You wanna be starting something, starting something. I said you starting something, starting something. Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's just tidy that up a little bit. A lot of the times it's very quick for me to be able to just quickly say, all right, there's some noise in the background there. So how do I tidy that up? I can either do it down here, so I can go into my my dynamics and switch on my gate and do it all here, which is great. But I do find that it's much easier for me to reach over and say, if I've got this here, oops, always get the wrong one. There we go. Then all I would do is I would get that backing vocals, have a little listen to it, and then immediately press gate.
Trying, crying,
there.
declining. Started something, started something, started something, started something. Yeah, yeah. 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 You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable.
Now what I'm actually hearing there is, I wanted to add more bass onto them, but what I'm hearing actually is, it's actually kind of muddying it up a little bit. I feel like I might take out the bass, or what I could do is, add this band on here, which just takes off the bottom ones.
Still they hate you. You're a vegetable. Just a buffet. You're a vegetable.
That's better. That's taking out some of that booming that you can hear.
They eat off of you.
And then also the attack is good. The release is fine, I guess. On there, I'm just adjusting those.
They eat off of you.
There you go, nice and clean. So tidying all these things up doesn't hurt. Knowing what they're all doing is probably my next thing. So if I was listening to, say, the guitars, let's just say I was going to go through to that. Let's just mute everything else, got the guitars going. And I come off of that. Let's have a look at guitar. Guitar mute. I mean, I can see what it sounds like by bringing up a little bit. That boom is kind of interesting because it doesn't feels really. Maybe, I wonder if we can just compress it a little bit. That sounds a bit better. More level. Alright. There we are. Oops. Bonk. I need to have an assistant or something to help me with this. Alright, let's go through. Let's listen to the horns. The horns feel really good, right? So I'm going to switch off that. I'm going to switch on the horns. Let's go back. And where are my horns? Where did I lay them out? There they are, right in front of me. Where I left them. Okay, so let's listen to the horns by themselves. There's a tiny little bit of room noise in there. So again, if I was going to be adding a gate, I might be fiddling around with a mouse and go, ugh, it's fine, it's fine. But it literally, this is it. I reach across, and if I just switch off my little picture up there, I select the track, I'm on, I press gate, bonk, I press that, oops, and then I adjust the thing, and then I've got the adjustment here. So let's have a little listen. It can, oh, let's just solo that. Oh, let's go back to a part where it has it. I've got it a little bit. There you go. Simple as that. Wow. All right, let's listen to the next one, and let's just put a limiter on a gate on that too. But there's really not much to. Oops. Hope I brought them up. Yeah, it's very, very quiet, but why not? I just put a gate on, put that on there, bring the level down. Let's see what it looks like. And it's done. So now we've got those two. They don't really play together. Oh, they only play together in this section here. I don't think these play together. Let's just put those over. Let's just separate them out a little bit. Maybe that will make it sound more good. Question. Is that what it's like on the record? If I play this part here. Do it again. Now that I've separated them out a little bit, it's a little bit more discernible. Now, the only other time they don't really play It's just the second one on its own, so that's just there. Huh. All right. Okay. I think those sound... I mean, straight up, they've got some incredible players. They just sound great. Great. All I've done is taken a little bit of studio noise out of there that you'd never probably hear in the mix at all anyway. So let's just move on to the drums. Let's just spread out the drums a little bit. So I go to the drums page. All right. Just spread the claps out a little bit. Again, do we want to take out the clap sounds there? Do we hear them that they're kind of like... You hear them in there? Would you want to tidy that up? Very quickly, I can just go, let's just... Oh, there is a gate on those already. Just... So if I make my attack 0 milliseconds, and the hold can just be a few little seconds, it should gate nicely. There you go. Fine. It's a small thing. Alrighty, and let's listen to the rest of them. I'm going to keep the snare to the left, to the right a little bit. The bass is going to be in the middle. The hi-hat I'm going to move to the left a little bit. Alright. I'm going to move the agogo bells over to one side. Let's have them all at the same time. Again, it's really difficult to go wrong with this. This thing is like, it mixes itself. So I'm going to pop on the percussion at the same time so we can hear it all in a bit more context. I think that is great, but it's a bit loud. But is it? Let's hear it in the context of the mix. Yeah, there's some percussion in there that's a little bit loud, so let's listen to that percussion. Now, what is that one there that's doing that? Let's bring in the drums because I think it's might be part of the drums. What is that? The doing, doing, doing. Nope. Not that. It was just there. This guy. He's too loud. So let's bring him back a bit compared to the rest of his fellows. A bit much. He's a bit loud too. Alright, let's listen to it in context. By the way, if you have like a whole bunch of solos going and everything, you're like, crap, I can't switch up my solos. There's a very handy solo delete button there. It takes them all off. My dog thinks it's a good time to start barking. That's okay. Alright, this sounds like it's in a great place. Let's listen to it in context.
You're a vegetable, you're a vegetable, till they hate you. You're a vegetable, just love a thing. You're a vegetable, they eat off of you.
Ah, so that's where that scary voice is. No, you're fine, Da Vinci Girl. You didn't miss anything. I'm just playing around now. And I'm hearing other things that I didn't know about. Like if I listen to that, if I solo those...
Fade off of you.
But you realize there's another thing, the scary voice. I think it's called Scary Voice. What is it called? Scary Vox. There it is there. And that's this person right here.
Oh, you're a vegetable.
Wow. It's always there, just never known about it. So I don't know which track I've got that assigned to. Scary Vox is right here.
You're a vegetable.
So I think this needs to be brought down a little bit. It's a bit too present in the mix.
You're a vegetable. Till they hate you.
Here it comes.
You're a vegetable. Just love a thing. You're a vegetable. Fade off of you.
Actually, you know what? I think it is more noticeable than that. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need, maybe pop it over to the side so I can hear it on its own. Yeah, I've shoved it over to one side so we can kind of hear it, and I think that actually does the job. So everything you're hearing is everything apart from the main vocals, which I've got down here. I just want to get everything else balanced out.
Startin Somethin, Startin Somethin, Startin Somethin, Startin Somethin. Yeah, 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 yeah. You love to pretend that you're good when you're always up to no good.
Way too much reverb on his voice. Isn't that funny? So let's go to his vocals and let's just dial that back. Maybe there was no... I was doing this as more of an example, just to kind of show it like, oh, we put our auxiliaries there and then I go down here and I got them right here. And I've got control of it. I keep that kind of at unity, and then depending on what I'm sending, I'll adjust it. So if I go back to his voice, lead vocals, and then I go look at his channel, which is... I want to make it that whichever thing I go to goes up to this screen here. Whoops, this one right here. But anyway, I've just pulled down the fader on that. I can actually show you. If I do this, and I go like this, I can show you right here. There you go. So if I go onto this channel, which is lead vocals, and it says lead vocals right there, and I go I'm on mixer, and then I go to auxiliaries, you can see right here, it says, look at my finger magically disappearing underneath, post fader, right? So you've got your different ones, and I'm on 1 to 4, and basically that is adjusting my auxiliary level, what's actually going out there. So if I just listen to it and I put it all the way up,
You really can't make a hitter.
Way too
You
much.
done became a razor. Someone's always trying to keep my baby crying.
that's better. So I've just dialed it way less, and I think so. There's also what you can do is, which is kind of cool, is that you can pan your auxiliary. So if you wanted it to have like the clean side coming there and then the reverb hitting on the other side, that would kind of work on that too. Kind of cool, but I'll just leave that where. Again, if you don't know what you're doing and you're like, oh, I made a mess, blue, reset.
Treacherous, cunning, declining. You got my baby crying.
Right, let's go back to la la. I always do that wrong. All right, cool. So we're in a really good place now. Let me see if there's other things I can mess around with.
Gonna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you're gonna be starting something. You got to be starting something. But you hard to get over. You love to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. And you hard to get over. You love to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder.
I think that's what we're doing. They're going right back and if I was going to actually record that, let's just do that. Why don't we just see what that does? So let's switch on my mix over here. I'm going to go with levels. And then what I want to do is, if I go here and I go to automation curves, I can switch on here so that I can go into these and show you what it looked like. Oops, let's just do this. Trying to make it a bit more visible for you. So I'm going to tell it to display fader level on display fader level. See, you can see it says fader level. And then here, I'm going to tell it display fader level too. Kind of like Logic when you set up the first time. Fine. And then now it's in a mode that I've got this button pressed over here that's now going to actually record, and I make it auto enable, and then and I think, yeah, I think that's it. Let's just see what does it. Let's have a little listen.
Something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. But you hard to get over. Yeah, yeah. You're too low to get under. Yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah, yeah. And the pain is thunder. Yeah, yeah. But you hard to get over. Yeah, yeah. You're too low to get under. Yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah, yeah. But the pain is thunder. Yeah, yeah. I took my baby to the doctor with a fever, but nothing he found. By the time it's in the street, they said she had a breakdown. Someone's always trying to start my baby crying. Talking, squealing, lying, saying you just want to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. You're hard to get over, but you're low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You're hard to get over, but you're low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You let it be that you're good.
Right, okay. And as you can see, I think that sounds about right. I'm not sure, maybe I'm completely wrong. And let's just switch off auto enable. Thank you, Mark. It is a beautiful recording console. I'm very, very happy with how it all is. I can show you actually a different layout too of my little area. If I go to, which one? This one. Look at this. This looks amazing. Looks fantastic. I'm very, very happy with this. So my guitar is in the way, but it is very, very nice. And as you can see, this is a home setup. This is not a fancy. It's a fancy setup, but it's in a home. That's it. My wife is there. That's the kitchen right there. It's very, very bright. And what are you doing, my goodly wife?
Making you a special thing.
My wife is making me a special thing with salmon. It's going to be fantastic. You might bring it to me, a boat with a thing. All right, let's get back to it. If it wasn't for my goodly wife, this wouldn't be happening, because it was basically after I finished I might have said this on another episode, after I finished my Restoring the Fairlight series, as we were getting to the end of it, she jokingly said, "Oh, so what are you going to do next? What other Fairlight synthesizers are there?" And I said, "Well, they just made the CMI." And she goes, "Oh, so what else did they make?" I said, "Well, they made very expensive recording consoles, like this one." And they were super high end. Like this whole thing here of having screens that change. This particular machine came out about 2000. I think this one was installed in 2012 or 2013. A lot of these panels have changed out. Like all these screens have changed out. But back in the day, this was absolutely cutting edge stuff. They actually, I believed, there's a Screen Deck. They either licensed or avoided the licensing. Because that's exactly what we've got here. It's exactly that thing. But this is 10 years old. So each of these things, the screens that change, each of these things that everything's touch and it reflects it on the screen. The screen's being touched, and then all of these little, LEDs. They're actually LCDs. They used to be OLEDs, which died. But anyhow, the whole point is that it was unapproachable. So when my wife said, "Oh, would you like one of those?" I said, "Well, first of all, it's going to take up a big chunk of our dining. There's nowhere else to put it. We don't have a big house." And she said, "Oh, let's measure it." And I said, "Come on, monkey. I don't think we really have the space for all of this. It's asking for CMI parts is one thing, but this is a huge recording console." And she goes, "Oh, you're being very negative. Why don't you just embrace the fact?" And then literally, she said, "Let's measure it. Let's go and get the dimensions online." We measured it out, and we got a tape measure, and which I think I filmed. I have to find it. And then she basically said, "Right, we're going to make a space for this thing." And then for a while, this space remained empty. But I'm talking like 3 weeks. And then my good friend Steve Rand said, "Hey, this might be a bit of a process, but I have a frame for you. And other things might happen to fit into that frame." So I went up and got this frame, which this is the same frame that you can buy from Blackmagic. Right now, this frame is $10,000. for the frame. So, so we got this frame, we put it up, and then a little while after that, Steve called up and said, "It's Christmas, bring a truck." And then I went up there and he gave me a whole bunch. What they were doing is they were swapping out these Fairlight-based ones with the new Blackmagic Fairlight ones. Now, they may look exactly the same, and many of the components and the looks are exactly the same, but interior-wise, they've redone them and made them all amazing. But it's the same frame and the same kind of setup, but it's black, and it looks a lot. It's very, very nice. And that's one of the things I really, really believe. I'm using this as a DAW. In fact, this version of Resolve, this version of the EVO software, which is now inside Resolve. This is now inside Resolve. You can bring up a lot of these menus. They're exactly the same. It's on the same code base. This machine supports MIDI and VSTs. And so when you're playing MIDI in here, you can actually load up VST instruments and they'll play. And the MIDI implementation is in here. It's kind of basic, but it's here. And it's kind of cool. And there's some features in there that I'm like, I would wish there was in Logic. Which I'll get to in other versions, in other videos, if you'd like to see. But anyhow, Rob H, nice to see you. Nice, bit more organized than my DIY Fairlight videos. Yeah, the DIY Fairlight video. This is more organized. I've got a camera over there. I've got a camera that looks at this. I've got a camera in front of me. I've got another camera that sees the whole width here, and then another one over there that isn't being used. And another one. I've still got. It's a work in progress. Even getting this to go through the Blackmagic, I'm actually recording all of these screens into a video in case I need to edit it later on. It's getting there. I did just pay mine for 4,000 euros. 10 modules. Wow. DaVinci Girl, what? 10 modules? What? $4,000 per module? Because that's about the price. They're about 4,000 euros for this part here. And that's another 4,000. These are a bit cheaper. Screens are a bit cheaper, but they are, I mean, they're really, really, the new ones are beautifully well made and fantastic. All right, let's see if this is working now. I feel like when I was fading backwards forwards, complete for 4,000. For how many modules? For 10 modules for the whole desk? DaVinci Girl? Like, this is one module, another module, another module? Is that 3 modules? I'll wait for the answer on that one. Anyway, as you can see, when we're playing this back now.
And you just want to be starting something. So you want to be starting something. You got to be starting something. So you want to be starting something. You got to be starting something. You're hard to get over. But you love to get under. You're stuck in the middle. And the pain is thunder.
Now, of course, I can draw these fader curves if I want. But it's not necessary. But I think, to exemplify, I think that's what they were doing in the song. I think they had parts where he sounded rougher and it was a different sound. But it's definitely a different setup. And I think that other setup is when he's louder.
How to get over, but you love to get under. You're stuck in the middle.
I was low on that one. Let me fix that. For 10 years and for 10 and yes, touchscreen monitors. It's the absolute last chip from. Oh, you got an EVO system. You got 2017. Yes. So these screens and these faders are from the last EVOs made. Because the OLEDs only lasted for some reason when they manufactured them, they made a horrible mistake, and it said only 140,000 hours or 114,000 hours instead of 140,000 hours. So each screen only lasted like 6 months to a year. So I've swapped out all of these for LCDs, and they're LCD modules. It's not just the screens, but the thing that drives it. And then these faders, I've got videos of me fixing up the faders, which you'll see in the next series. These are so much faster, right? So you got a 2017 model. Oh my goodness, that was the last of the really good ones, and they are really. So you have 10 modules. So hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. What other modules do you have? I was 14,000 euros in 2017. Yeah. Wow. 14,000. Yeah, it's really, really incredible. I'm very happy that you've got that, because I think for me it's a natural jumping point to show the integration of this with Resolve. I work in video as well. That's part of what I do. And I do visual effects, so integrating visual effects with Resolve and Fusion and Fairlight, I really see it as being the future. And I think a lot of young creatives, I did a talk for the young Latino Netflix filmmakers recently, and they give funding to young filmmakers from diverse backgrounds, and all of them, and I was encouraging them to use Resolve in case they have like one person that's like doing visual effects. They can be their friend that's in Canada or wherever. It allows it to be people to work in very separate places all at the same time. And the same with the Fairlight. When I saw the Fairlight tab in Resolve, there was some people went, "Oh no, that's really bad," and I was like, "This is the best thing that could happen," because things like this, the moving timeline with it going underneath, that's now on the main Fairlight edit page, on the main edit page of Resolve. And I've always said that this way of working is fantastic. And so I see there's a quiet revolution of editors moving over to Resolve. And I also see that the integration of this, if they added MIDI and proper VST support into this, you've got a DAW that's really good and integrated into any project. Anyway, that's my other thing. Resolve is fantastic. Yeah. I'm very sad about Blackmagic. They still implement just mostly useless fancy stuff. One of the issues that's come with the system, and I'm going to be talking to the Fairlight people about this, although it's very difficult. This magic menu button system here that's down at the bottom here, it's so intuitive. You have your modes here, then you have the tool that you're going to do it, and then on the right hand side it's how you want the tool to behave. You know, you select here with the thumb, and then you do copy, cut, paste, trim, over here. It's right next to it. And then over here you've got cut clip, cut tail, cut head. What do you want to do? You want to do it with a range, blah blah blah. All of that is there. And they've changed it now in the new Resolve. They've changed the layout. Now, there was a lot of existing users that said you must implement the old layout. So they have done. They've implemented this layout, so it's back to being this. But the problem is, they haven't done it properly. It isn't complete. So the new layout is getting all these fixes, but the old layout is needing more attention. And I talk to people about this, and they get really frustrated on how Resolve is changing things and adding, you know, like I've got this air panner here that was given to me by a late friend of mine, and I've still to integrate it, but it's a move module that allows you to, when you go onto this main screen here, let me show you. If you go onto this screen here, where is it? Where are you? There you are. And you bring up this panner space view. It's over there. It allows you to pan. Oops, I guess it's on the screen. It allows you to pan all these things around. So if I was on lead vocal here and I put this to path, you can see it being moved around on its own. But it also allows you to, if you come out of that screen, let me just, boop, 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 boop. Hang on, there's another menu that I want to show you that's in here. I just want to check, see if it's the right thing. No, that's sorry, the wrong one. But it is actually. This is the 3D audio workspace, and then what that allows you to do is use this use this as a move module that it literally looks at your fingers, and you can attach different channels to your hand, and you move it, and you can spread it out, and you can rotate it and do all that, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's now, I've now seen it being introduced into synthesizers. This Move was a great company, but I don't know where they went, but I've still got to integrate this. So it literally just sits here until I have it wired up. But the software and everything is already built in to allow you to use your hands to mix. And I think you can do your fingers, so you can actually do this and move around. And you can actually move up and down and left and right in the 3D space. So there is a lot of cool things being added. I feel that all the videos that are being done on Resolve are all mouse-based. And then you see, in most of the videos, it's kind of funny, you see this console, the black version, their version, in the background, and the person sitting there, and this in the background doing nothing. And then they're explaining with their videos all a mouse-based approach, which I think, I've been in visual effects for many years, and I kind of blew up my right arm using a mouse, and then had to transition to doing a tablet. And then from that, you know, you need to be able to, when you're leaning, even here on a day, you're leaning across, you're engaging your core, and you're also not using your hands in a repetitive manner. You can just keep on moving. And at the end of the day, I'm not exhausted. But the new tutorials are all like how you can do things with a mouse instead of doing things with your hands. And I think that there's the version of this, it's $4,000, but it allows you to just keep on moving. And I think that's way, way better. Yeah. Is the output only stereo? Oh no, it can do full surround. It can do, there's all these different versions. There's 22.3 was one of them. There's all these, it can do DTS, it can do 5.1, it can do 7.1, it can do 9.6, it can do full Dolby Atmos as well. So some of the routing is done here. You've got your different speaker sets, and you can also inverse the phase. You've got your different sources, and all your setup for doing your talk back to the studio is done in here. And then your different monitor presets you can set up so that you can listen to something. If I'm listening to this, I can tell it to be in mono, and you can see what it sounds like in mono. Now, when I do that, all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, his voice is really loud. And then put it back to stereo. So these are just my main speakers here, and then you got 2 other sets of speakers that you can use. But also, yes, it does have a full. It's not just stereo. It can be full Dolby Atmos. Can you do some videos about your visual effects work? Yes. If I'm still redoing my chrisblythe.com website, but you can see in there all the stuff I've directed and done visual effects for. I used to work in video games. I worked on a game a long time ago called Worms, where I did all the intro animations for Worms Armageddon and Worms 2, original Worms. That was fun. And then from that, I came over from there to the United States, and where I am now. And I worked for Digital Domain, and we were the kind of we were doing this very first CG car commercials, like the first time doing that. Digital Domain was a company that did Titanic and Apollo 13 back in the day, which did some really breakthrough work. And so when we went there to do, I was on the commercial side. I did some features, but on the commercial side, we were breaking ground, doing a lot of new things. And so I've got some of that is documented on my website and on my YouTube channel. You can go just back through and find videos that I've done. But the Worms stuff is really funny because there's a new version of Worms that's going to be coming out in January of this year, and they've asked me to make some levels for it, which is a massive honor. So I'm going to be doing that too. Maybe I'll make videos of that. Who knows? Yeah, I'm glad you like Worms. Worms was really good fun. I also did some of the voices. On the original Worms and Worms 2, I did Angry Scots, and I did Soul Man. So if you ever listen to any of the other voices there, I did that too, which is really, really good fun. Also, I did some levels back then as well. There was a level that was looked like a band being set up, and there was a guitar in it, and it was actually this guitar that was in. It was my actual bass guitar, my left-handed bass guitar here, and yeah, this channel's going to have a lot more things like that on it. It's going to have bass stuff. It's going to have the building of this or the assembly of this, and also actual music projects. So it's fun and games. Yeah.
When you're always up to no good.
So I don't know what else we can do with this in terms of, I think I might switch off that mix just so that we can not have things fly around. But it is very handy. Switch it on, you can see exactly what's happening, you know?
The beat started something. So you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something.
I think that's exactly right. I think that's exactly what they did. Because the other one doesn't sound the same. The second line has got more of a punch, and it sounds exactly right. I think I got that right. Just happened to get that right. I don't get that many things right first time, but I did there.
But you had to get over.
So I think we've got that.
But you love to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. But you had to get over. But you love to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You learn to pretend that you're good when you're always up to no good. You really can't make them hate her, so your tongue became a razor. Someone's always trying to keep my baby crying. Treacherous, cunning, declining. You got my baby crying. So you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. So you wanna be starting
what's interesting is I'm moving things around here, and as I'm doing it, when I'm finding it sounding right, I'm like, oh, they're at Unity. So I'm not even mixing. I'm reconfirming that their mix or whatever they did for these outputs, these stems have been normalized and exactly right for being exported as stems that when you bring them back to Unity, things sound good. I've done other recordings with other multi-tracks where it doesn't sound good, and you need to really work on them. And I like doing those more because when I was working with my daughter on her EP, we recorded we used to live in Kenya, and she recorded all the instruments during studio sessions, and they were all over the place. They were great musicians, but the recording was sometimes you were just in a small space. It didn't sound good. Sometimes you're like, I don't have the right mic. I'm going to use the mic I have. And so some of the drums recordings needed a lot of help, and I really loved digging in, and we really made all of the instruments sound a lot better, and that was really good fun. And I'm looking forward to doing more of those things. This one, look at them. You see them? This one. These ones are off. They're actually not doing anything right now. The backing vocals are pulled down a little bit. Let's go down. Yeah, look, Unity. And that's me just like listening and pulling them down until they sound about right. And I'm like, you know what? These are all, okay, so I've pulled these down a little bit here. These are my main bus outputs, but things feel about right there. And let's have a little listen and see where I'm at. Oh, hang on. This way you can do 5-minute setup on the EVO from stereo, your Dolby Atmos mix. Oh yeah, exactly. I talked to the Blackmagic guys and they have no interest in adding MIDI support, so you can't use DaVinci as a complete DAW. I know, and I'm talking to the lead, the guy who actually manages the entire DaVinci product. I work for a company that has a lot. We use Resolve, and we use the color part of it. That's really our main business. And I've been talking to them about it, and I completely agree. They say they've got no interest, but it's interesting that on this one, when I put bars and beats on the screen, this one is bars and beats. They've now added bars and beats, right? And it's interesting that the bars and beats that they've added looks exactly the same as this. They're adding in code that I think is already there, and I think that's interesting. So they say they've got no interest in it, but I feel that might change, because if they did, they would really have an incredible product. And the funny thing is, it can hear the output of VST instruments. You can add a VST instrument to a track in Resolve right now, and the output of the VST will be recorded, and the control messages from your synth or whatever, from your expression, everything, those get recorded into the VST, so it can hear the it can hear the MIDI channels, and it can correspondingly do things with them, right? And that gets reflected in a VST that's in Resolve. So the architecture for passing all that information is there, and it's working clearly. What we don't have is recording the MIDI notes. Now, I could, if I just say, like, I'm going to do this right now, and I'll show you something. Let's go down to track 54, and let's go to here, and I'll say convert to or from MIDI tracks, right? Oh, hang on, I want to go, let's say no, because I don't think I selected just that track. So, bam, I've now converted this to MIDI. And now if I go to edit MIDI notes, well, view, is it on MIDI events? So bam, here's, as I said, it's quite basic. And if I go to edit events, but it's not actually showing anything here because I haven't set it up. I'll do a separate video. I've actually made a separate video of this if you want to see that you can actually have MIDI notes and record them in the same way that, see the way that these things get, if I go off of this, hang on, let's go to smart playing, just meters. Bonk. If I'm on any of these tracks here, for instance, and as you're going over, you see the way it changes colors. Let's go to something. If I'm going like this, and see the way that when you're going over something, it highlights it. See that? It does that with the notes. and you can really see your notes being played, and you can really see when something is coming in late or not. And that's one of the things that when I saw the MIDI implementation of that, I was like, oh, I wish Logic had that, you know? Noob question, when you record a song with the band, do you record the instruments separately? I do. So what I've got over, you can't see it, but let me just go onto it so I can show you. If I go to this one here, over there, down here, I've got this black magic thing pulled out so I can adjust it. But over there, I've got all my I/O, and I've got a box called an SX48, which gives you 48 channels in and 48 channels out. It's a really, and you can gang them up together. This can literally do hundreds and hundreds of tracks. So I've got a breakout box that gives me XLR combos that go into this machine. And so I can record right now if I wanted to. I could record, I think, 32 separate channels. That's what I've got allocated. I've got certain ones going out. So I've got 32 channels going in here. I can route them into Logic. So what I've got also, if I go back to the screen here, what I've got here is I've got Logic with my little setup over here, and I can run this, and if I can make this sync to this so that I can actually be playing Logic sessions, and this will the output of the Mac will go through MADI and then come into the desk, and it works great. And also I can make it very quickly that if I come over here, I press one button, this one button right here, and this takes control, and so I can be scooting and forward, and when I'm doing this kind of stuff going backwards and forwards, Logic catches up really quickly, and it works like a champ. So and I can do videos of that as well. It works really, really well. And then also I'm wanting to make it that I want to have it that lots of other people can come in here and record. And I've got these cool little setups. These are regular headphones, and I've got this little adaptation that allows me to have 6 zero latency headphones. These are just cheap steel. They're actually gaming headphones with a microphone taken out. They're my son's. And with these ones here, there's one transmitter, and you can have up to 6 of these. So I could have up to 6 different people here, and then I could just get another transmitter and have another 6. And these are $29. So that's what I'm wanting to have. I'm wanting to have it that people can come in here and record. And we had that when we lived in Kenya. It was fantastic. We had it when we lived in another place in LA years ago, and it was great having that ability. So yes, I do want to do that. And you can record live. The way that DaVinci Resolve works is that whenever you press play or record, it's processing all of the channels at once, whether you've got them on or not. So when you add more channels, it doesn't care. It doesn't slow down or anything like that. It just works. Can you please make a notice? The free plugin from Fielder Audio. The name is Dolby Atmos Composer Essential. It's certified Dolby and done in cooperation with a German Fraunhofer. Oh, I did not know that. I have to look at that out afterwards. Fraunhofer Institute. Am I saying that right? Fraunhofer Institute. Wow. I need to look at that. Alrighty. So I'd say that that vocal's too high. And but I think that everything else is feeling okay. He found the street. They said she had a breakdown. Someone's always trying to start my baby crying. Talk is feeling lying, saying you just want to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. Got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting. I think that sounds about right. I don't want to play it too much because I think I'm going to get hit with copyright things. Let me see. Yes, they did. They did MP3s? Wow. That is incredible. Okay. Well, I think what we've done today is we've organized our tracks. We've brought them all in. We've color-coded them. We've bussed them all out. We can see them on the bus over here. Color-coded buses reflect the colors that are on the same channel here. We mapped everything out onto different pages. We got very quickly into a situation where we can mix and make a pretty good setup. If this was being pulled in with someone that they weren't laid out, it would give me the great groundwork to work at speed so that I can actually mix effectively and quickly. The Fairlight consoles that you can get, this one on its own, the DaVinci one, is fantastic, but it is $4,000. I think picking up a second-hand Evo is a great idea. They also make the combination ones, which has basically got a little bit of the transport over to the side and mostly the faders. I think that's a great deal. And those are like $2,000. And it really gives you, I feel, it allows you to approach Fairlight, the Fairlight tab in Resolve, from a DAW kind of mentality. You know, I just see people, you know, editing dialogue and music, but for a TV show or for documentaries or a film, they're doing it in that context. Whereas I'm using it completely only for music, and it is designed for that. It is, you know, what we're getting inside Resolve is something that's amazing, but we're just using it for like dialogue replacement and like sound effects and some other stuff that they're doing. People don't know the heritage of this type of system and how it was built and how it came from, you know, like an incredible company. And all the thoughts that have been put into this is just absolutely magic. And I've only really touched on a little bit of these today. But that was the main goal for today. We got things mixed in. We're touched lightly on the actual mixing part, but it was more about the organization, bringing these stems in, getting them organized, and I think we've done that. So there is another Michael Jackson song that when I looked at it, it was Beat It. Now the multi-tracks that I've got of Beat It doesn't sound like the song, because what was originally recorded isn't the way that it eventually came out. And I think it was the guitarist that came in to do the lead solo. He said, I got to change it, and he changed around the song and made it for the better. And it really is much better. But I would love to do that, where I take the song and actually chop it up and move it around. I might do that next. I want to see if I get hit with any legal complications with playing this music too much. But it really was, I find listening to all of this stuff is absolutely amazing when you hear his vocals just on its own.
Hard to get over, yeah, yeah. Too low to get under, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that type of, just hearing that on its own, it's just, I can listen to take that or take the bass. It's funny as well though, because there's a real bass in there, and nowadays people would quantize that and make it fit so it's exactly on, but those differences make different phasing, and it works in conjunction with the synth bass really nicely. Fantastic. Next one, guitars. Just fantastic. Is there any horns here? Nope, no horns. Where's my horns? Oh, there they are, there. Just so tight. But that noise that's in there, it's when you put all of those sounds together, this is what becomes your memory of, like, that's the song. But if you individualize any of those and they feel like, what the heck is that? Why did they choose that? And then you hear it all together and it's so cohesive. It's absolutely incredible. Can you write your email here, please? An address you really read? Sure. How do you do that? Bonk. There's my email address. Let's go to the next one. The synth as well. Maybe the synth is the simplest part. Yeah, there's nothing too fancy about that. But then you combine that with the synth strings, with the real strings. And it becomes this lush thing. You can hear some phasing in there too. Fantastic. Now that's interesting, Maybe I do need to listen to that, because those guitars on their own are they sound way rougher, don't they? So let's go to those ones here. That's both on the guitar solo. Let's have a look at that. Let's open that up there. So is that both? Do you think both of them were used? Hang on. Oh, it's not those ones at all. It's in the guitar solo. Wow, did I not map those damn thing? Well, let's do that. Let's just pop them in here. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Let's clean these out here. And let's go to here and let's map guitar solo. Where's guitar solo? There, bonk. And guitar solo 2. Why isn't it doing that? I'm only seeing one guitar solo. I don't want to get guitar solo 2 and map it there. But I'm not seeing it on the thing. Am I doing something wrong here? Oh wait, did I put those together? 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. I'm seeing horns. No, just letting me map. Oh, hang on. Guitar mute, guitar rhythm, guitar solo. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, let's just go from there. Well, I can just ignore that. And let's just look at the actual tracks on the mixer. And there it is there, so. See, that seems really, really rough. It's funny when you hear both of them together, that doesn't sound right at all. I think that that is not used. It's only in that one place, and I don't think it was used there at all. It sounds way too, you know what I mean? If you hear it in context of the rest of it, and you just listen to all the stuff together. Oops. Very, very rough sounding. Interesting. All right, well, I think we've covered everything today. I'm glad you all joined me. The next ones I want to do is I want to do one where I'm really working more with the mix and less with the setup. This is really more about the setup and the mix. And we'll see how it goes, if it gets taken down by the copyright people. And we'll take it from there. But I thank you very much. This email address does not work. It does. That is my email address. chris.b@me.com. That is my my Gmail address is in my YouTube channel, so you should be able to find it there. Yeah, cris.b@me.com is definitely my email address. You might be putting an H in there. I don't have an H. CRIS. All right, thank you very much. This has been really good fun, and we will see you all later on. I'll lead it with music playing.